Well, moving into our second and last segment of the day, we got a little bit of a short show for today, folks. Teachers, specifically a teacher, says she was told to deceive suspicious parents about children's stated gender identities at school. Now she's suing. I've talked about this for years. A California public school teacher said she was told to deceive suspicious, their words, not mine, parents about their children's stated gender identities at school, and now she's suing. Folks, if you want to know the biggest cover-up in America, like the one story that nobody wants to talk about or acknowledge is, yes, the school system at large on how grades are inflated. Kids can't pass a basic standardized test anymore. That's why you don't have a high school exit exam, really. That's why you have an influx of certain prerequisites inflated in the college systems because they can't pass a math test or an English test. I mean, that's one component. The other component is you have these school systems that are just trying to trans your kids, and they are lying to you about everything. Not only are your grades being lied to you, like if you have your son or daughter has like a B or an A, it's probably more legitimately a B or a C. So if you have an A, it's probably really a B because it's inflated. And then that B is really actually a C. And if you have a C, it's probably like a D or an F, probably more like an F because you pretty much just have to go to school to pass nowadays. But the other aspect, again, is you're just being lied to about everything. It's insane. It's insane. I've been in trainings and I was told to do this before when I first became a teacher. Well, what are the details surrounding all this? Quote, it's unfortunate that I have to go toe-to-toe and stand up against a community of people that I love. This is a teacher who's telling this to Fox News. I've been there for 25 years. This is a community of people I care about, people I've served for a long period of time. And so that gives me a pause to have to stand up, but I felt that I had to make that choice. The cable network said attorneys for the teacher and the fellow other teacher, Lori Ann West, both of whom taught for decades at a middle school in Escondido, filed a federal lawsuit last week against the school's leadership, claiming they were effectively required to lie to parents whose children assume different gender identities at school. And I'll break down my experience once I'm done covering this. So Fox News says this. This is actually a detailed thing. The lawsuit, which was filed against administrators with the Escondido Union School District and the California State Board of Education, alleged that the K-8 school district's harassment and discrimination policies mandated, which I've talked about, teachers to accept a child's transgender and gender diverse identity without hesitation and to hide it from their families. I've been told this before. I've talked about this at length for those that are longtime avid listeners of the Bald Brad Show. I always talked about how the training I was in, talk about trans stuff, LGBTQ identity, and the science department was like rotating the papers. And I always bring that up because I thought it was hilarious because the biology teachers could not, for the love of them, understand how gender was fluid. And so they're trying to be told all this and try to accept it because they don't want to be fired. So we were told that if a student is trans or part of the LGBTQ community, we couldn't tell the parents because the students didn't want to be ousted. This comes from the school psychologist. And furthermore, they didn't have to tell you their pronouns. They didn't have to tell you what gender they were, what they felt like that day. You just had to know. And if you didn't know and you didn't call them by the correct pronoun, you could potentially be fired. And you were mandated not to tell the parents because for the kids' health. Is like a safety reason. It was a safety concern. Because remember, the one thing they always push here, and you especially hear this in the new trans movement, is that, well, they could die. They could kill themselves. So that's why they push people to be trans. At least one of the mechanisms to be trans is and have parents go along with it. Because if you didn't trans your kids, then the end result is they're just going to kill themselves. That's always the conversation. And by the way, I always want to preface, if you're having those type of suicidal thoughts, please call a hotline. We care about you, regardless if you're trans or not, by the way. Conservatives, Republicans, especially people of faith, we love you. We want you to get the help. Okay, just because we're having this conversation that we don't believe that you can transition, that we don't think that you're, even though you're biological male, you could somehow transition to a female. We don't believe that. At least I don't. I still want you to seek help. You're a person. You're a human being. So if you're having those thoughts, even for those that are Bald Brad Show listeners and visitors, folks, get the help you need. Heck, email me. Okay, my email's in the description below. Email me. I want you to be here on Earth with the rest of us. But teachers are being mandated to basically hide this stuff from you. The suit also claims they were instructed to use students' preferred names. There you go. There you go. Students' preferred names and pronouns in school, but to revert to their biological pronouns and given names when speaking with their parents. I know this 100% because it happened to me, and that was one of the main discussions we were having was we use a system called Aries. If the child's name is David and Aries, that's their legal name because the parents have to authorize that name in Aries for it to go through. But the kid wants to be called Rachel in the classroom. So you have to call them Rachel because if you don't call them Rachel, even though their legal name is David and that's what you have in front of you, you could be fired. And that name could change, by the way, as well as pronouns throughout the day by just going to the bathroom, coming back with a different bracelet or pigtails or whatever, or a different colored shirt. It just depends. So they're mandated to do this, by the way. And we were told, well, what happens if the parents don't know? Well, you can't tell them because, again, for fear of what the kid might do to himself. Teachers were told to tell a suspicious parent that they were allowed only to discuss information regarding the student's behavior as it relates to school, class rules, assignments, etc., according to the suit. According to a transcript on a February 3rd, 2022 training presentation, it's like it's talking about my school and it's not, or at least the previous school that I was at, not my current school site. Training presentation at the Escondido Unified School District staff about, quote, the rights of gender diverse students obtained by Fox News Digital. Teachers were instructed that a student's assertion is enough to determine gender identity and that failure to affirm, there you go, affirm, it would constitute harassment. That's why you'd be fired. Even if that was not your intention. Again, you can literally change genders because it's gender fluid. You could walk into the classroom and you can leave the classroom being called Rachel. Even though you're a biological male and your name is David, you could leave the classroom called Rachel, go to the bathroom, switch out a bracelet, a ring, pigtails, whatever. That's going to signify now that you switch a different pronoun, you're a different gender or whatever it may be. Now you're Jessica. You went from David to Rachel to Jessica in like 5 minutes. And if you don't call them by the correct name, if you don't recognize that out of 34 students amid of teaching mathematics or English, whatever you're doing, amidst of all the other chaos that you have going on, you have to recognize a finger, like a ring finger, or like I said, pigtails or a bracelet or something to signify that they changed genders. It's insane. And if you don't do so, what does it constitute as? Harassment. So the training also claimed that there's no requirement for parent or caretaker agreement or even for acknowledge for us to begin treating that student consistent with their gender identity. It's insane. It's what is going on in the education system. I can't tell you enough. As somebody that was a public accountant for the majority of their career that just switched into teaching like 5 years ago, it is the biggest cover up that nobody wants to talk about. Everybody wants their son or daughter to get A's and B's. So they're okay with those inflated grades. They're okay with seeing what's happening. I'm telling you guys, it's not okay. It is not okay. We are downgrading our education system like you've never seen before. It will hit rock bottom. I fully believe in this in about 2 to 3 decades, max. It will hit rock bottom. So you had the teacher added that the cable network that last year she personally was faced with a dilemma, with several new students asked her to refer to them as different names and not to tell their parents, which you have to do, by the way. While she was figuring out how much to approach a situation or how to approach it, the teacher told Fox News she learned from the school counselor, sometimes it's the school psychologist as well, by the way, that teachers' names, or students' names rather, would be changed or were being changed in official school records without parental knowledge or consent. That one, you just saw my reaction. That one is new to me because I was told specifically, and still to this day, the only way that you can change the school records is through parents. That's insane, you guys, because a lot of this stuff is legalized or is legal. Like, for example, I have to take attendance every morning. That's like a legal document. The school is responsible for your son or daughter. So that legal document, it plays a role in many of things, especially the name that's on it. So how do teachers and educators know better than their own parents and families? Why are we taking over the welfare of these kids and decisions as personal as their given name? Thank you. I'm just there to teach math. Can I instruct certain values into your son or daughter by coming to school on time? Okay, being respectable or respectful to others and being respectable too. But those are like basic foundations that I think everybody could agree upon. I'm not there to be their parent. I'm not there. I don't have kids, and maybe I want to have kids in the future, but that's not my kid. Okay, you can still values in them that you want to instill. Okay, you don't know me, and you might know me, even if you do, that's fine. But I'm not there to be again their parent. I'm just there to teach math and be kind to them. That's all I care about. Just be successful. That's all. Just do well, please. That's all I care about. So the teacher asked, according to the cable network, I just felt that was really overstepping as a teacher. Yeah. And as an educator, that's overstepping our role in their lives. And then we're not allowed to tell their parents. I just thought it doesn't seem right. No, it doesn't seem right whatsoever. It's terrible. So what did the school have to say about all this? The Escondido Union School District is committed to providing a safe and positive environment that enables our students to learn and actualize their unlimited potential, that empowers our teachers to excel as educators. As part of the commitment to student learning, the district observes all federal and state laws. It sounds like Karine Jean-Pierre, does it not? Not answering the question at all. And look, I'm going to repeat myself, you guys. Nobody wants to talk about this. Nobody wants to talk about the inflated grades, the crimes that go on campus, the harassment that's happening to teachers and the students too, by the way. The inflated grades, the fact that students can't pass basic tests, the fact that they're being able to remediate entire courses easily, the fact that you have people with multiple Fs somehow graduating the following week, the fact that you can't even get them to sit there and memorize a list of formulas, let alone, again, take a actual standardized test. They're having impacted colleges and the prerequisites because people can't pass, again, a basic math test, English test, science test. This has massive ramifications. Nobody wants to talk about it. Not to mention they're transing your kids or teaching them how to masturbate at a 3rd grade level in states like New Jersey. They're showing them pornographic videos. There's crazy sex books in the library of all these school systems. And you want to know how I know that nobody wants to talk about it? At least partly the reason. One is you bring it up or you do a video on anything with the school district. It's the least watched videos, very similar to immigration. But also, two, I've sent out hundreds of emails to other podcasters saying, hey, I'll give you an inside viewpoint of what I'm reading here. I will tell you anything you want to know that I've seen firsthand and what I've heard about or there's studies on. Zip, zilch, nada. You go from the Daily Wire that loves to boast about this stuff. You go to the Blaze that loves to boast about this stuff and talk about it. Nobody wants to actually have a conversation with a conservative teacher that's in the classroom, still present day, that could tell you, hey, I wasn't always a teacher. Let me tell you how it was when we all went to school. Let me tell you how it's changed. It is insane. And you're kind of yelling to the skies. And I understand we're a small podcast here. I mean, I wouldn't even say small at this point. We had 32,000 subscribers. And thank you to everybody that follows the show, by the way. I love you guys to death. So we're not that small, but it just goes to show you that's one thing that really shocked me is small or not, nobody wants to have the conversation about the education system. Everybody says they do, right? Everybody says they want to talk about this stuff and they care about your kids being trans and what's going on, but nobody really. Put in the comment section below. Everybody write in the comment section below, because I'm curious, because this could be like an anecdotal thing that I'm talking about. Name the outlet and name who the teacher was. Even if you don't know the teacher, name the last time you saw an outlet have a long form conversation with an educator on the right side of the aisle, like a conservative Republican like me. Sitting down saying, hey, what's going on with the grades? Why is grades inflated? What have you seen in the classroom? What type of harassment's taking place? What kind of studies have you heard? What do you think about the trans movement? Have you seen an exponential function in terms of kids transitioning from male to female? Have you seen an increase in LGBTQ activity on campus? What have you heard from other teachers? Let me know if you've seen any of that. Hand to God, I have not. I haven't. There's one outlet that I saw, and that was Joe Rogan's podcast, and it wasn't even about that. It was about IQ scores, and it was talking about the bell curve by Charles Murray's book. Other than that, nobody wants to talk about this stuff. I think it's one of the biggest issues outside of immigration, as well as the debt ceiling or our budget on how we're basically $31.7 or $30.7 trillion in a deficit. So enough of me rambling, a little bit of a shorter show, folks. You know I love you to death. Thanks for always listening to me complain and bitch and moan, but folks, we're all on the same page here, hopefully, with a lot of this stuff. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below, and I'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.